Hey everyone, how's it going? It's been a busy week. Been trying to figure out some new coding stuff. I'm trying to move my chair in. It's so difficult to do on carpet, but here I am now. Got some tea. We're gonna do some coding together. So excited for what we have planned today because I'm going to be working with the rhyming dictionary again, but I've been learning a lot, so I'm looking forward to putting some of that new knowledge and understanding to work. And I really want to dive into new technology too. Something like I'll be working with Framer Motion, which it's just Motion now. So I want to do that, but I also want to work with some like server actions, which I haven't done a whole lot with. I did for the auth video that I created. I did some there, so I'm a little familiar with it, but I think there's more to be done with that. So yeah, it'll be interesting. We'll see how it goes. I do plan on making this into like an actual app, or something like an app. So it'll be mostly a website, but I want to be able to have people create their own account, favorite words, store their words, just have a place in general where they can store rhymes that they don't want to forget, or words that rhyme that they don't want to forget. So there's a few creative things we can do there. I normally don't have a drink on these live streams, so this is going to be interesting trying to manage drinking tea while trying to talk too. So if I take more pauses than usual, it's for the tea. In this nice soup type of bowl. But yeah, so I'll be drinking. Trying not to make too many like drink sounds into the microphone, I promise. But yeah, so we'll start with the motion, I think, and then we'll move over into server actions because first of all, I can write forms. I can write words to my form submissions collection, which I think is going to be super helpful. And then also make sure that it gets emailed to me or whoever the webmaster would be. So that would just be the site owner. So that'll be me. And then after that, we'll see where we land. That should be plenty of work there, but then we can start talking about authentication. So I was in the Payload Discord earlier, also thinking about how authentication should be done. Consensus isn't quite there, but it does not seem to be, for NextJS anyway, to not use authentication in middleware, mostly because of the vulnerability from a couple of months ago, maybe 2 months ago now. So there are a couple of different ways to do it, and so maybe I thought I was doing something that wasn't best practice that actually may have been best practice. So, well, why don't we just get started? We've got, let's go over to my screen here. So I've got my Word project up and ready to go. Get another sip of tea. And over here, we can see in our to-dos, I want to experiment with motion, which I have pulled up here. And in fact, we can just install this real quick with npm add motion and let that install. So this is not something that I've messed with at all. I've looked into it, but I think there's going to be ways that we can use this to do some interesting things. So the first thing that I want to look into is in our word cell here, because I do have a map, so I can add. This may be a bad example unless I wrap this in a div, because I don't really want to make this into an A link. We can see what it does though. But all right, let's stop talking about it and let's try it real quick. So we're going to import motion from, that's wrong, motion React. And so this was called Framer Motion, which is why I think my IDE got a little confused there. And so if I go over to our rhyming and spin up our server here, we can go to any of our words, which I'm just going to go to the search route. And here in the search route, I've got a bunch of words I can choose from. So let's just start with banana. Why not? And so now we have all of these links here, but if I do, instead of the link, I can do, I want to do a div, which I know is going to need a key, but I don't think I need it right away. I can get rid of this class name and just do class name chips. Oh, let it do it for me. All right, and then I think here I just need to do something. Yeah, so it's, this shouldn't change the view of anything, but I can do motion.div and save that. If I refresh, nothing should happen by default, maybe? Interesting, okay. So let's just give it something just in case. I wonder if I can't do a class. Can I do a class name? Well, I have a class name now and it's not giving me anything. Okay, so yeah, class name is fine. Let's do animate and let's do just what this example is. We can do rotate 180. Got undefined. What happens if I just make this into a regular div real quick? Animate's obviously not going to work here. So I may be trying to go for too much of a use case here, or at least too deep of a use case. Let's start small. So give this its class name back. We can start. Let's go just to the home page. So if I come down to our home page here, which is already used client, so that's actually one thing that I was thinking that it might be. So maybe we don't do that quite yet. Search might be good. So if we go to our search route, and then we go just in here, can I do motion.h1? Oh, I gotta import motion first. Then let's do a good animate. And a rotate of 180. All right, was something else needed here? So let's take a look here. We can do motion and NextJS. So I feel like I'm missing something. Oh, okay, so no, I'm not. But what I could do, let's test this first. So let's go back to our home page, which again is a client component. So we can go here, and then we can just do import motion from motion React. We can do then H1, sorry, motion H1. Then we can animate. Yeah, I think this is gonna work, no problem. We can rotate 180. Is initial on the inside? No. Must be here. Initial rotate 0. So now if I save this, I should be able to get back there, and then if I go to the home page, all right. So that's cool. All right, so that is neat. I do like it. Now, how can I use it for something like my words? So blur is not what I want, but like, I mean, this is gonna be cool, maybe. Yeah, so animation is going to be, I think, a good thing here. The question then is if so let's remove all of this real quick. So I do need to use client components. That makes sense. I understand that. But now, if we get rid of motion, the thing that would make the most sense to add a little bit of zhuzh to it would be here, which means that I would want a component, or yeah, so a component to wrap around this. Is there a lot of companies that use Payload, or is it more of a freelance thing? It's a little bit of both. So it's definitely a freelance thing that developers, especially NextJS developers, have been picking up. But there are some big companies that use it, whether for like internal sites or like marketing sites. I'm not sure about that, but on the Payload site, they have lists of a bunch of at least bigger companies. I'm trying to think of, I think Microsoft uses them internally for something. There are a couple of big logos there. So companies are using it. They are a newer product, so it does make sense that especially enterprise is taking a while to catch on because it's a rip and replace kind of situation. It's very hard to, phase in and out of something. But companies are using it, and I do know of several agencies using it as well. And thanks for the question. Gave me a break for tea. All right, so I'm trying to get a motion component around here, and I'm trying to think of the best way to do that because I would want to be able to then use some of these like basic so like scale, transition. I would want to be able to get from the CMS, like be able to put some of these options in PayloadCMS and then use them in the motion. And so if I have to do this in a use client, I could just create a component called motion. So let's do that. So we'll go to our components and let's create a new directory. We'll call this just motion. And then we're going to create a new TypeScript file called, index. And we'll use client to make it a client component. And then we're going to export a default function called motion. I don't want to do it that way actually, so we're going to export a constant called motion, and it's not going to be async because it can't be. We will pass in props. I just don't know what they're going to be quite yet. But for now, first of all, it's going to be children. So we definitely need children, which are going to be, if I could type, children, React node. So let's import React from React, import motion from motion React. And so we'll make this just to make it easier. We can just return a motion div with children. And so I also know we're going to take, and we'll just make this any for now. We'll do motion props. Motion props, we'll do just any, like I said, just for now. And then we can do animate. So if I do, interesting. All right, so first of all, we can just do animate. Can I do like a bounce or something? What kind of motion can I do? Oh, I don't want that. Oh, that's cool. Hide, show, okay. So if I want something that's like a bounce, animate, what is available? I have rotate for sure. Motion values, objects. Oh, 3D. Oh, it's 3JS, okay. All right, there's a lot you can do with this. This is what I'm looking for, actually. All right, so we want what? So animate, then what? Stagger. Delay. Ooh, what is happening? I can't type today. All right, delay. No. Animate. Okay. So we know we have animate. What else do we have here that we can add that's motion related? I don't know. All right. Regardless, there's going to be a way to delay. Oh, this is just using a class name. All right, so we got some stuff to figure out. But what can we do? So we've got animation, we can animate. What kind of animation can we do? I don't want to do scroll, don't want to do animate view, easing. Motion value, delay would be nice. All right, let's go back to docs. We'll look at React. Components, motion. Hooks. All right, that's going to come in handy. I guess what we need to do is just, we can do scale of 1, then do initial scale 0, and that's going to wrap around the children, and then we can, instead of this, do our motion prop. I'm going to make that not required. Just until I figure this stuff out. So great, it did have a quick bounce. So here then, our motion props, if we do want to pass those in, would be something like, we would need an object of motion stuff. So again, this would need to come from PayloadCMS, or any CMS really, but we can do something like constant animation. Then we can do an object where we're going to have animate and then we're gonna have initial, and then I need to figure out what else I can do. All right, so let's see. Okay, here's some things on automation start. So maybe if I type in animation. Okay. Okay, so that's all the A's. I don't love doing this, but this will work for now. C, D, especially because I would like to see a delay, but I wonder, is there a like use delay? That's from PayloadCMS apparently. What can we get from here? So we have use animate, use animation, use DOM. And here we're just getting an idea of what's included with motion. All right, so let's take a look at what these hooks do. Don't need that. All right, so if we go to use animate, okay, interesting. So still not quite like I'm thinking about. Exit animations. I forgot that I need to be talking here. More T. All right, so I wish there was a way, and there maybe is, like I want to see everything that's available to me. So I know I have, so maybe we start with the motion div here. And so we can do motion div, which then takes the animate, oh, there we go, while in view layout, style, all right. Use motion value, server-side rendering. Give me super motion create. All right, that's not quite what we're looking for. Props. Okay, this is what I was looking for. So we have animation. Oh, so there's initial. There's animate that I know about. Exit, transition. Okay, so here we can do a transition of, let's do type inertia, seems nice. See what that looks like. Refresh. Okay. Let's go ahead and add the key. That shouldn't be the issue, but oh, I'm also recognizing. No, I'm doing this right. Okay. All right, well, where'd my words go then? And there they are. Let's just try type spring then. There we go. Okay. Not quite what I'm looking for, but I would like it to do, like I would like a delay between each one that I could like set with the index. But we'll see here in a second. Drag, what does that do? Oh, I wonder. Not that I would actually do this, but huh. That's cool. All right. So we're learning some stuff here, just messing around with motion. While drag constraints, drag elastic. Okay, so I'm glad I'm looking at this because there's a lot of props. But I'm very surprised that I can't see like there's not a delay that I can see. Oh, and then here's one here. Custom. So transition then, do you have the ability to do, oh, there we go. So here, I imagine the delay okay, that was weird. Delay is going to be a number and it's in seconds. So I would want to do, let's get the index, which is going to be a number. So we can get index number and we can just do index divided by, I don't know, 5. Well, that's not what I wanted. Oh, I'm not passing in the index, that's why. Okay. So then index is, oh, I need to get the index. Okay. Index. Oh, there we go. It's a little slow. And do index divided by 10. Still a little slow. There we go. All right, and then obviously I don't want the spring. Mostly I don't want scale. So if I do translate, maybe it's not translate. Is it transform? It's not transform either. I guess translate Y is what I want. Weird. All right, so we can do 100, maybe not 100, 50, and then have, there we go. That looks great. Love that. That's gonna be, I assume, well, I really only care for this here. Perfect. So I like that. Adds a nice bit of pop to this. And there's going to be ways that we can also use this by getting in our values from PayloadCMS, but I could do something like, I'm assuming I know how to do this now. I could do opacity 1, or I guess, oh, I think it's 1. And then initial would be opacity 0. And then it's kind of hard to see. Maybe if we do 25. Yeah, that adds a nice bit of, yeah, that looks even better. And so what if we did, instead of just the default, we could say view, while in view maybe? Oh no, I want to do on viewport enter. So here's where we start to get to more where is, I just had it up here, didn't I? Viewport, while in view. Okay, so that returns a Boolean value then. Don't really care much about that. So we've got a transition with a delay, but I fear that like it gets attached to this, which I would also like to get the same prop treatment as up here, like when we refresh. Because that's just like a nice, I mean, it's quality of life kind of situation. It's not anything that's super stellar. It's just a nice bit of pizzazz. But I do like it. Does the same thing happen in search? No, because search is not not using the words. Anyway, so I could add motion for each of the words, and I could give editors ways to edit it, but I don't think I need to do that actually, because going to it myself, I think that's just nice. I like that. So we're going to leave that as it is. We're not going to take any motion props. I don't think we need to. And then I think we can start working on some form submissions here, which again, I have not done a whole lot of. So let's go ahead and get rid of this. So let's go back to our to-do list, which I believe is in my layout. It is indeed. So that was cool. I enjoyed that. I don't know how much I can use it for. Unless I do something like, let's go back to the home page. Well, there's nothing to change there, so never mind. I was going to say we could just like have the H1 fade in as we scroll into it, but I really just don't think that's necessary. All right, so that's good for me there. So now we're going to add form functionality to adding a word. So if we go and we search for a word that I know has no actual word in it, we can request a word. But right now, if I do enter a word, nice, and then we do test@email.com, nothing happens. So that's a problem. We need something to happen. So we'll come back here. What I might want to do is, first of all, go down to our word, and then no matches were found for. If you think we should have this word, request us. Then for the request form, which is using use client, We can then have a prop. So we're gonna just do type props, and then first things first, we are going to take in the default value, which will be a string. Then we can set props and assign it to props. And we can get our default value from our props, and then down in our input, we can do default value or an empty string. And then back up in our slug, we can then pass in a default value, which should be slug. And since I would have to like do on change there, so in that case, we want to make sure that in our request form, first of all, we can do, let's do default value, question mark. If so, we can do default value. Otherwise, we can check if there's a value, and if there is, return that. So then hit this here. There we go. Request lice. Love that. Don't do that. All right. So now what we want to do is we have this form, and honestly, I don't want it to actually be, well, it'll need to be a client form regardless. But now what we can do is in our request form, we'll do a new directory that we'll call actions. And in this action, we will do a new file called request word.typescript. And we're going to use server, and I'm definitely going to need an example of how to do this. So I'm going to go to my blank payload, which then, and this is only going to get me part of the way because I didn't completely do server components correctly here, but this is going to get us at least part of the way there. So this is not what I want to use. Maybe update is probably the better idea here, because what I'll do is we're going to import, if I can type, get payload from payload, and we're going to need our config from payload config. I don't think we need our types. I don't think we need that response, but we're going to need to get it. So then we're going to have, I don't need, well, I guess I do. So we'll do our interface. We can just do args. That's fine. Where we can do our word. And then, so the word's going to be required, and so is the email. And then our response, I think this is actually what I need. I'm going to make, I'm fine with that. All right, so that's perfect. And then our response, I know, is going to be a success and an error. So we're just going to actually bring this over here. We're not going to export these for now. I will eventually. But for right now, this is like the only form that I'm using this for. So we can do a promise of response. So then I know that we need to return something, but for now, we definitely need our constant of payload, just to get rid of the error. I know I'm going to return something. Well, I know actually we're going to do a try catch. I don't know why that didn't let me do it as like a full template, but that's okay. So we're going to, I actually need to do the try here. So first we're going to try constant. I don't actually think that's true. I didn't think so. Well, actually, it might be true. But either way, we're going to await payload.create. And then we're going to do in our collection of form submissions. We don't need an ID, but we need data, which is going to have our word and email. Word is not a field, though. So what can I do? Sizes. Oh, submission data. Do submission data, which is actually, I think, an array. And then we can do here, we're going to go to our form submission example. And this is why I do this stuff. For me, for later. Form, and then we can go to our index.tsx, which is going to have our form information somewhere. Data should be somewhere down here. Data to send. Here it is. Okay. So that's actually what we're looking to do. We can do... I don't think we need actually all that. Maybe we do. So we'll do a constant of... do a constant of data to send, and that's going to be set equal to our object entries I guess word and email. And then we can do sure field. We can do as key and then value, which doesn't need that second part there. Here, this is going to be a better idea. And data is going to be word and email. There we go. And then I should just be able to do our submission data is data to send. Property form is missing in type. Okay. So in that case, let's see. So I need data. I assume I need submission data, and then I need form. And form I don't think can be null, but we'll try it. We'll give it a shot. We'll see what happens. All right, and then we have... So I have a feeling that this is not going to work like I want it to, but fine. Because I think I just have to associate a form with it, but we'll see here in a second. All right, so payload create. And then if it makes it past that, it's going to be return success true. And what I actually want to do is going to import toast from Sonner, which is not in here. So we're going to take a quick pause and do npm add because I want to work with toasts as well. And then we're going to go up to our layout and add to the bottom of the body our toaster. And then this I think has rich colors. I want to set to true. So now we can go back to our request word. And then if this is true, or if this succeeds rather, we can then set, first, we can do toast success. We'll do something like your request has been sent. Okay, great. And then we can return success true. And I think that's all I need. Then we can catch the error. So we'll just do a log for the error for now. Submission failed, toast error, submission failed. Ooh, that might work. I think that's going to work better than the console log. And then we can return success false, error not assignable to type string undefined. So I think we just need to change our error to be unknown and hope it's a string. And then this is unreachable code. Unreachable code. So I don't know if I need that, but we'll find out here in a second. All right, so now I think there's a couple ways I can do this, but the way I'm going to do it is through our action here, and we can do request word. We need to collect the word here. So why don't we do it how we did it in our, not our log, well, I guess our login would do it, but update. Oh, update form right here. All right, so instead of this, we can, so we have our handle change, great. But now we can do an async function handle submit. Trying to rely on my autocomplete a little bit more while still maintaining control of the code because it can get way out of whack very quickly. All right, so here is also somewhere where it's been a little bit different for me because we should be able to use things like use action state, which, if I remember right, has a couple of things for me to use. First one is, I don't know. I would like it to load. Expected 2 to 3 arguments, got 0. So maybe I can tell me over here. Well, I think one is, all right, so I need next to tell me what it is. So let's go over to, we're done with motion. We're going to go to NextJS. We're going to look up server actions, use action state. And in use action state, we have, oh, okay. So we have state, form action, and pending. And then here we have the action that we want to use, which is request word. And then the initial state, I don't really know what to do for this. Message, disabled pending. But I need an initial state. Maybe I'll just leave it blank. But then we can do state, form action. Oh, okay, so our state is, I understand now. So we need our word, and I need my email. So that's our initial state. Now, in the use action state, we're going to need to use, do we have a create user up here? This is just actions.ts, that's fine. Okay, so we have create user, form data, all right, so let's go up a little bit. That's form validation, not really looking for that right now. All right, so we need a form. All right, so we have we're going to take in our form data. So we're going to come back here. And I think instead then of our word and email, so let's go ahead and get rid of our args real quick. And then we can do our form data as form data. Okay, and then const word, and then do the same thing with email. Oh, I don't want form date, I want form data. All right, so all of this is happening in the server action, excuse me. Submission data. As string, okay. So that works as I expect. Then we have request word. And so maybe I don't need, oh wait, I do need the response. Well, no, the response happens here. So then do I need to set this to promise response, which will be exported from here because I don't want to have to keep redefining it. So we can get request word and response. Okay, so I know that that's going to need to return a value. But then here I'm running into an issue as well. Load 1 of 2 action state response. So what I could do is first do it this way. Oh, so this should be promise void, excuse me. Oh, that's handle change. What am I doing with my life? Okay. Handle change, that's not where that's supposed to be. So let's just move on from that and focus on this here. So now, let's go ahead and get our form data. And then we can get our constant of email and word. And now here I need to figure out, because I could just do constant result is a response, and we can await our request word and pass in our email and word. If I put the I would have to put the thing back in, like the arguments. I would have to put that back in like this. But that's apparently not the correct way to do this stuff anymore, because I have our constant of state, form, action, and pending from this. But then, so if I set let's go back over to our NextJS here. Because what we do, all right, so we have our use server where we get our raw data. And then in our request word, we can set the same constant. We can just do raw form data and set that equal to, now we can do word as string. Do the same thing here with email. Then here we can pass in raw form data, and all of that works how it's supposed to. Now we can await payload create, get the form submission, send it to data. Then we toast success. And then, so I guess we can try it anyway. We can do an action and just do request word. And so if we were to do it this way, where, let's go ahead and just comment all of this out. So we won't do our handle submit here. And in our request word, we're not going to do a promise, I guess. What is this saying? Not assignable to promise void. Oops. Yeah, so that should be gone now. So I guess my success can't work. Weird. Okay. Well, let's give it a shot how it is, and we can start troubleshooting from there. All right, so let this load up. No email provided. That's fine. We can just do my email and hit request. All right, and let's see what broke. All right, so I believe it is the form submission, or well, before we count that out, let's go to our form submissions. All right. So then we do need to create a form, which we already have. So we have Word and email. Perfect. So then we can just take this form ID, wherever it might be, and let's put this in place of that. Okay, so now toast just isn't a function. I need to figure that out, but I should be able to go back to my forms, form submissions, and I do see a word request for no value. So, oh, okay, so it's because word request is what it's actually called. So we can do a word request. So I don't need success and true, but I do need to figure out. So if I do, so I should already have Sonar installed, but let's go ahead and get, hey, it's a toast. Okay, we have Sonar toast from Sonar. All right, so now we should be able to do, we shouldn't have to do, but we'll generate types, and then we will generate import map. Then we can, oop, don't want to install it again, but there we are. So now we all right, that's interesting. So it definitely wasn't that. So our toast error is not a function. Are you sure? I wonder though. So now if I open this up, all right, so then we have our submission data, so that's definitely going right. Problem though is that I don't know why that's not working correctly, but well, we know the form catch E. Failed. Okay. Man. Toast success. I wonder if this is because that's wrong. That's not where I wanted to go. Here. Let's do true there. Trying to get my toasts a-working so I got the form submission actually going, so that's nice. There's a few things that I want to do with it still though, like a success message being one of them, so I wasn't expecting to be caught up on this at all. So it wasn't that. Let's see if we can search this error. So I definitely shouldn't have to request form. That's use client. That's good. Shouldn't have to do anything different here though, unless I can't use toast in a server component. So if we go back here, easy way to test it is just doing that. All right, so let's go over to our Word cell and we'll actually go to our Word page. And below this, we'll just do a button toast. And we'll do on click toast dot info success. Oh. What is this supposed to be? What did I accidentally delete? Weird. Okay, then we can do on click. Try this again. Then we can do toast info success. So that would make it need to be on a client component. But that's not true. I've done this before. But if I go to our request form, should just be able to do button, submit. We can do on click, toast, info, success. Yeah, there's a toast works there. So in which case, I then need to do some more. So form with loading and error states is what I'm looking for. App actions. So I guess what I would do is have our handle submit like we thought. And then, so this is the use server. That is what I'm looking for. So we come here to our request word. We've got our form data, and I guess I would just keep it here with our previous state. And our previous state is going to have a message of string. So far, so good. Yeah, why don't let's do this all the way. So let's go ahead and do p-npm add zod. And then we're going to import z from zod. And we have our schema. So we'll set constant schema is equal to z object. We'll have our email, string email, perfect. And then we have our word, z string. Both are required. If I remember right, that's what I need to do here. Let's actually look that up. So let's do Zod docs. Oh, they're just required by default. That's better. Okay. Works for me. All right, and so we're looking in here to figure out how to get forms to submit good. So we can then, let's just follow the example here. So we'll do constant parse, schema, safe parse. Okay. And then so here, if no parse success, it's still all server stuff. I can just do return message failed to submit. And then we can get our data, parse data, which is actually this. So then our data to send is going to get our data from here. And then we pass it in with that form. Then we would not use a toast. So first, we'll return message is not true. It's requested word, data word, which is not quite right, right? No, it is right. Okay. And then catch error. Instead of the toast again, we will return not success, but message. Could not request data word. All right. So next, that's all I want to do right now. So if we go back to our app and then we go to our add form, that's a client form. Perfect. We come back up here. You got a lot to change. The first thing that I know we can change is that there. All right, so then function submit button. So I believe then outside of this, I can do constant of pending equals use form status. Does that need to be used within a form? It does not appear to be so. And so here I should be able to disable based on the pending. Type submit. I guess aria disabled is probably the better option here. Like that says, for accessibility. Then, yeah, this should be pretty simple then. I don't need handle submit then. I would just need to, before the form here, we can set our initial state, which we'll do up here. Const initial state equals message And then we need our use action state, request word, and then initial state. And this is going to be a constant of state form action. And then here we do form action. All right, looks good. Now, state message. Lots of cracks over there. So if we do, we've got our divs here, label email. Oh, that's email. This should be word. And then below input, we should be able to do state message and, well, actually, I think there's more about Zod in here that I want to look at. Or I guess I would just need to, well, hold on. You can then pass your action use state, return state to display an error message. Pending states. Event handlers, use effect. There's a lot in here. Error handling. So I would like to use toasts though. All right, so regardless, we can do let's just do a div with our state message. So pending state. Is there not? So we have error handling. Will be caught by the nearest error or suspense boundary. So form action and state. Let's go ahead and log state for when we do this. And then also let's log use action state, request word, and initial state. Because I kind of want to see what I'm going to be getting from this. So this is the fun stuff, just working on trying out new things. All right, so let's go ahead and get this loaded up. I want to use a different word. Well, order. Okay, well that's not great. I can do oh dang, local host order. All right, enter email, request order. All right, so that's where the message went. So I would much rather, instead of that, we could do so then we can move this. Oh, did I already delete it? Yeah. And then honestly, below all that, I want to figure out the error message as well. So if I do this, so we got a toast, and then I got 2. Why is that 2 there? Yeah, of course, that's going to do that. To 812. Field. Okay. So it's counting the amount of toasts. All right, so requested word failed to. So where is the, oh, failed to submit because of the, it didn't fit the validation. So that's fine, that's good. Now why? Oh, hey there. Glad you could join. Yeah, I've been going for a while now, just working on just a few things here. We did some motion stuff with Framer Motion, and that was cool. Enjoyed that for a couple of minutes, and now I'm starting to work with server actions for forms. So I've got most of the form behavior going, but I really want to use toasts, which does not work great with using the use action state. So that's what I'm working on right now. But I don't think if I look in, what is false? False must be pending. So if I were to do pending here, so I wonder, so state, cool, it only gets the message, but I should be able to pass in more. So if I were to do something like over here, request word, I've got my previous state, which I did not actually use. Do they use it somewhere in here? So if we go back up to our app and we go to our actions, do you use previous state anywhere? You don't, but I think that's fine. So if I do previous state, I could do message, and then I could do status, I guess, and do either success, or maybe I can do something like, that was weird. Do, yeah, success, Boolean, error unknown. And then if parse does not success, we can then, I don't need to do an error. I can just do, actually I should just do an error. So this should actually be a string. And so instead of message here, we can do status, and we can do an error, which of course needs to do this. What? I don't understand. Hold on. So we get our message, but instead we want status. And then we want this to be an error. So hold on. All right, so we return. Do I need status here? Yes. All right, so first of all, yes. Then we have our error, which then needs, dang man, always so complicated. I'm making it complicated, but that's okay. So we can return our status, which will have an error of, oh, message is also required. Well, let's change that. So then we can get rid of that. Everything should be fine. So now this should be cool. And then instead of message, what I'm gonna do is set this, let's just copy it so I don't forget. We can do status and then wrap this here with success. And then do the same thing here. Comment that out. Do status and then error. All right, so now we have actual status messages here. We can do state message. Instead of that, we can do state status. And then do success. And then we can do toast success, state status success. Or honestly, this is just going to be toast error, state status error. Oh wait, no. So this needs to be state status error, otherwise null. So now if we come over, oh, can't be null, it should just be. What did I do? Oh, these should both be strings. Okay. So then we can do invalid form data. I'm still getting the 2 though. But now I can do maybe we can do here below everything. Well, I guess it would still need to be here. We can do state message and state message. Oh, geez. Message. For some reason, message doesn't exist anymore because I must be a Muppet. But it does, though. I see it right there. Message. Let's see what that gets me. Invalid form data. Oh. request order. So if we refresh, shouldn't be anything there. So then I should be able to do... All right, so I'm getting to... Oh, gotta get that out of there. So I don't know if toasts are gonna work here, but that's okay. Because for some reason this is going twice. Which is not the end of the world, but this is the problem, is here I keep getting the count of the amount of times the toast renders. So that's not stellar. Either way, the form works quite well. So if I get rid of this toast stuff here, then we do okay, so error.message parse error. I should just do, well, okay, yeah. So then we can do message, then we can do index of message. Okay. Making this really complicated on myself. That's all right. M. All right, so let's just say invalid form data. I'm enjoying struggling through server action stuff. Again, haven't really ever done it, so this is working stellar, actually. So, invalid form data. I know I can do more with Zod. That's not kind of what I want to do here. What I'm trying to do, what I would like to do is have each of these have their own error messages, but I do know that I'm not submitting a bunch of word requests. I know I've submitted a couple, but those invalid ones shouldn't have gotten further than here. Yeah, so email word order. Okay. That works fine. All right. Oh, but I do want this to come first. No, we can leave it like that. All right, so cool, I guess. But what we also want to do is in our request button, we should actually switch this where we do value here. Value. And then if default value. Which shouldn't change anything here because default value exists, but now I can change this. Yeah. Alrighty. So in the request though, we will also do a loader circle. We can do class name animate spin. So also in here, flex. Justify center. Then maybe a gap of 4. Oh, that's wrong. Gap of 2. 4 looked good. And then let's actually do justify around. So in that case, we actually don't need the gap between. I think that might look better. Yeah. Around. Then item center. And then so now we can do, oops, pending cursor not allowed. I did that wrong. Cursor pointer. I know there's a lot of errors here, so let's get rid of that. Get rid of cursor pointer here. Then we can do while pending, visible and invisible is not quite what I want. We can do, I guess, block, otherwise hidden. I just want to make sure block works fine. Looks like it does. Pending, good. So now, if we do so, that didn't do anything. It just happened immediately, I guess. Yep. So, oh, what is this? Oh. Let's go ahead and, since I got rid of command, I got rid of my success and error toasts. What is it missing? Oh, status is also going to be optional. All right, so I mean, that's a form right there. So really I just need a way to communicate the message, which, so if I do requested the word, and so seriously, if I do state message and toast success state message, oops. Yeah, why does this come up here? And why does 2 toasts come through? Oh well, whatever. Doesn't seem worth it. All right, so we have requested word here. So is there more to use action state? Because I do also want to know, we have action state awaited payload. Oh, I'm thinking of my payload. But we have state awaited dispatch is pending. So this takes state, initial state, and permalink. Sorry, action, initial state, and permalink. What is permalink? Because once the form submits, I guess I could do it this way. So if I do, hold on. So if we do, let's see. So we have a form here, form status. So where do I have that again? I have it somewhere. Use form status. So what else can we get from use form status? So we have pending, method, action. Is there anything else? Form status pending, form status not pending. Action, so string method, string form data. Man, what else is available in here? Oh, is this what I was looking for earlier? So let's take a look. If I can do back here, we have our parse, safe parse, so that good. If not parse success, we can do return. We can do message, we can do parse dot error, flatten field errors. Feeling that that might be what I'm looking for, but also I would like to know like an is submitted or has been submitted. You know what? Let's ask. Cookies, not what I'm looking for. I'm gonna ask ChatGPT. I don't do this very often, but I'm gonna actually ask him. Ask him, whatever. NextJS 15. Server actions. Okay, does NextJS 15 have a way to check form submission status with server actions? What you got to say for me? Okay, cool. Pending. But what about the actual submitted status? So that's the part that I'm trying to figure out, because in like a client or like using use effect or something like that, or handle submit, I'm able to, oh, I guess, okay, that works. So if we go here, we can get our status, our previous state, and set submitted boolean, and then we can return submitted false, and then here submitted, oh wait, so this is submitted true. So now coming back here, we have our submitted false. I don't know what you want from me here. Types of message are incompatible. Request word, we have message here. Message status. What is it saying? Types of property is not assignable to type string. Mail word. Oh, okay. So back up here, I guess I need message, or this can also be word, email. Okay. Perfect. All right, and then we have our initial state, which should also have oh, message is interesting. Okay, that should be fine. All right, so let's try this out. So, oh wait, one thing first. So we can do check first is not, not state submitted. If it is, otherwise we can return. Does this form have a div, or is it the div? It appears it is the div. So we'll take this class name, put it into this div. Don't need that. And then we can do our all right, so, and then if it is submitted, perfect. All right, so let's give this a shot. First, okay. Oh, I need to have my error messages. All right, so we'll do below our email input, we can do state message email. It should though. State message email. Yep, thought so. All right, and so what we can do is in our label here, first things first, we'll set this as a div. And then I guess class name, flex column. There we go. Do the same thing up here. I don't know why that's not showing up correctly here. We can do type of state message. Does not equal string. There we go. And then let's get the same thing going up here. that up here. Whoops. Div. Then, oh, I already got the div. Perfect. Okay. We want this to be though word. Yep. And then we can do class name, flex column. And then we can do, I don't really love this layout here with the button taking up so much space, but let's come back to that in a minute. Because honestly, fill out this field. I mean, word is always going to be, unless. Okay. So we will, oh, can we just do a stretch here? So word can only be a string and it can't be empty anyway because it's required. So I don't think any of my validation there is going to do anything anyway. But if we do this div here, we can do stretch. We'll figure that out later. What I would like to do now, though, is just actually try this. Perfect. So now that works great. It happens so fast, though, so it just feels like nothing's happening, nothing's loading, and nothing's going. But I guess that works regardless. All right, so we have our message. We worked on a couple of things here. I do wish that I could have it delay before sending, just so I could actually use, or I guess I could test that out a different way. I need to use Chrome for that though, so let's go ahead, and this is going to be the last thing I do. We're going to open Chrome. Get a new window out here. Let's just copy and paste this here. Because what I can do in Chrome, if I inspect, thinking maybe I need to do have the button, instead of being a flex item, we can bring it down. And then because when this grows, yeah, I think this is fine. But I can still do a div, class name. We can do a flex on the outside. Then here at large, screen sizes, we can do justify center. Or I guess max large. Okay, it doesn't matter when it's flexed anyway. All right, well, I'm cool with that, like this. Except, let's do flex and then large, we can just do block. Yeah. Cool, whatever. All right, back to what I was doing. Here in Chrome, I can do a simulated slowdown. So I can do a 3G connection. There's all my email addresses, request order. So the pending didn't quite work right. status, action state. So if we do a log of pending, it's false. So then we go back over to our NextJS example. No, not the example. But we can look at pending. So maybe instead of our form status, we can set this to be pending and see if that does any better. Back to Chrome. Let's let it load back up first. Okay, no throttling then. All right, there we go. So that's back up. We can do 3G. There we go. All right, so our pending does work from there. I do wish though that it had an actual, like, has been submitted or submission state, but that's okay. Doesn't seem to be necessary. But anyway, that's good. Let's wrap up with some design work real quick, because I don't like how this looks. So I want to fix that real quick, and then we'll call it a night. So we have, and this is how I ended it last time too. So first of all, the reason I did it this way is because I wanted my email to have an error message. The problem though is that it stretches out this field, which I don't like, even if so I think what really needs to happen is, instead of everything I've done, ooh, no, I don't want to undo everything, but I don't need this in a flex column. Okay, that already looks better. But if I do this, so it still stretches. So I don't need this to be in a flex column. And so that looks better, but I would prefer it to be more or less part of like the actual input. But I wonder then if I just need to do, well, if I do a div here, and it's just a div, it does that. And that's not what I want either. And so I could do, something like this. So if we were to do on submit, I would need to find a way to, well, let's see. So if we could do on submit, then we can do this function here, and then we can check if message, and this is actually state.message. We can then toast state.message. So let's just try this real quick. That was weird. So it doesn't get to the submit, but if I do on click, for example, I get invalid email. Maybe I do email. State message email. Oh wait. I do type of state message does not equal string. Oh, there you go. Invalid email. So I do see the toast there. So maybe I need to do on submit, and this should be toast error. Let's go ahead and refresh. And then if I do, so I don't get there, but if I do on click again, okay, so now I get it up there. All right, so as much as I would like to use toast, I don't think I can with at least how I'm doing this. So I'll have to think about it a little bit more. I think I'm just kind of hitting a dead end, both with mental energy and trying to figure out what's possible. So yeah, so the form though, that's right, that's what we were working on. So if I do this, we have invalid email there. Looks fine there. And then, and again, this is not exactly how I want the error to look, but it'll do for now. Because I could do this as a grid instead, which would honestly probably look better. Oh, I could do, let's try this. Set you to be a div with the class name of block. Which did nothing. All right, well, that's it. I think this is a good place to stop. Well, hold on. Let me figure this out. So if we do a grid instead, and then we did grid columns 12. Some of these aren't going to matter, which I think are going to be these here. Okay, cool. And then we can do grid rows 2. We can set this first input here. Can do div class name, then we can do grid span, or I think it's column span. We can do 6. And then the same thing here with another div. Column span 6. And then we can actually, I think this would need to be a grid. So that's good. And then do I have to put this into grid too? Nope. Grid. All right, so got to get Chrome back up. I'm going so late. All right, so we can do grid row row end. Okay. And then I think then I can also do this as div with class name of row end 2. Not exactly what I wanted, but why? So I want this to be, so if I do stretch, so that's not at all what I want. Then can I do this here? None of those are stretch. I don't want this to stretch. So this could be width 100% though. No. Oh, this could be though. So since I don't have grow, this should be width full. Yeah. So we can fix that real quick. I don't need. Well, we should see if this is even going to work like I want it to. Yeah, they improve it pretty often, so I'm glad that I have this and I don't have to pay a ton of money for it because it is consistently updated. All right, so I think I just need to rethink how I'm doing this form. So we go down to our form, which looks good. That's fine. Then here. So I don't need grid rows 2 for sure. Oops. And then in each of my columns, we can actually just do width full, which actually needs to be in the input instead of grow here. auto. Nope. 100%. Nope. 50%. Nope. Okay. I don't remember how grids work. That's kind of fun. All right, so I do know though, I do want this to be at like the small screen size where that pops up, and then we can just do, oh, actually we can keep it grid, and then we can do this at the small screen size and do call span 12. Do the same thing down in this other div. I don't need this here. Oh. Well, that worked pretty well. So now if we keep this here, which with this large gap, there's a, oh, I still have grid rows too. There we go. All right. That's better than what it was before. So I do think I can use a little bit more of a gap. So let's go ahead and do a gap of 4. Let's get rid of our stuff there. Dang, man. Okay. Let's do a gap of 8. And then I've gone for way too long. All right, so don't need this, but we can set text red 800, maybe 400. Still not easy to read. 500, 600. Close enough. All right, and then we can just do margin top of 2. Perfect. So now we can set this also for our, oh, I don't have another error message because the other one can't be true anyway. So now if I refresh this, everything looks good. 8 is too much. Let's do a gap of 6. Okay, gap of 2 it is. And then we'll do this at the medium screen size. We can do a gap of 8 everywhere else. All right, friends, I'm calling it a day. This was fun. I got a lot done, got a lot learned. So, if you enjoyed this, make sure you're subscribed to my channel. Make sure you check out my tutorial videos. One on Next.js came out today. One on forms yesterday, so that's what got me onto this one. And we'll pick this back up next week. I do really appreciate y'all watching, and I will see you on the next one.